Welcome back, where today I want to talk not just about the new delay that we've been hit with PSVR2 in terms of a single game, which is Bulletstorm VR, but I also want to talk about the state of a couple games coming out, and whether or not I think they're going to come out in 2023, and why the communication has been so silent. Because we've got a lot of games that were originally slated to come out in 2023, but have the risk of being pushed back. But first of all, let's talk about Bulletstorm. You're also going to have to bear with me for this video because I am losing my voice slightly because I'm under the weather a little bit, but without further ado, let's get on with it. For those of you who don't know, Bulletstorm is a narrative action FPS game with a load of big explosions, destruction, some great spectacles, some big boss battles, and the entire game, except for the multiplayer, is being ported over to PSVR2, which was slated for this year originally, but has now been pushed back to 2024 in mid-January. Now that's not that big of a setback in terms of months, but we've had a couple other games also be delayed, like Phasmophobia, being pushed back further and further, and while that still could come out in 2023, a lot of games have an uncertain fate. But as I said in my last video where I covered delays are usually a good thing. And Bulletstorm I'm actually not too worried about, to be honest, and the reasoning for that is that the devs have already started communicating with content creators. The signs of a bad port or a bad VR game is that the devs or the publishers sort of know what they have on their hands and they don't push it towards content creators to cover it. I personally don't think Green Hell is the worst of the PSVR2 lineup, but it certainly didn't meet my expectations for launch, and I think the devs knew what was going to happen at launch, so they didn't send any keys out to reviewers at all. We all had to buy it ourselves and then review it, which is perfectly fine, but it does show that the devs weren't that confident with their product. The fact that the Bulletstorm devs are getting in touch with content creators this early on, as they put out a tweet asking who wants to cover the game, is a good sign in my opinion, and then pushing it further back even came with a comment that they're looking to improve sales and reception at launch and to deliver a more polished product, which is exactly what we want to hear as, you know, the customers who are buying these games. There unfortunately have been a couple times, not just on PSVR2, but VR in general, where I've bought a game and been quite disappointed with the result. And it seems to be an actual positive trend right now where devs are understanding that we don't want to pay for a game that is broken at launch. That is the simplest way to put it. And I think now they're understanding that they're going to get better sales if they wait a little bit longer, rather than ruining the game's reputation by throwing it out there way too early. So yeah, Bulletstorm VR is delayed until January, but in my opinion, that's a good thing. Now for the second half of this video, I want to talk about a couple of games that have fates that are uncertain. They're slated for 2023, but we've had no news since their announcement, and there are three big ones for me. One of them is Among Us VR. This is probably the smallest of the three in my opinion in terms of actual scope of gameplay and how excited I am for it, because I played it on PC. Among Us VR is a great game, it's a great social game, and it's one of the best games to play with friends on PSVR2 when it eventually comes out. It's going to be great. However, it was originally slated as a PSVR2 launch title along with PSVR1. PSVR1 was scrapped and PSVR2 launch was also scrapped. Some people think that this was a meta deal that kind of kept it off the platform. I honestly don't think that's the case. It could end up being the case, but in my opinion, I feel like they just took that extra time to develop the game, and it's still slated for 2023. Some people are expecting an early December drop for this one. I could actually see that happening. They could just say one day, okay, it's on the store, go buy it, and a lot of people rush to the store and get it. I still have hope that Among Us VR is coming in 2023, we'll just have to wait and see. The second one is FNAF Help Wanted 2. This is of course a flat screen and VR game if we're running by the original game's logic, and this is another one that I think is a bit up in the air, at least for me, because we only had one trailer at the PlayStation Showcase, and since then we've had no other trailers. It was shown off at PAX, I believe. A bunch of other content creators like Dorco, who are very big in the FNAF space, got to try it, but no real VR-centric content creators I've seen have really covered this one. The fact that Steelwool were allowing people to come in and play a bit of the game does bode well, but their games are prone to delay sometimes, so this could definitely happen, and we have no solid release date. As we're getting closer and closer to the last month of 2023, I'm expecting a December drop. I think that would be absolutely perfect as well if we do get it this year, because then it's a perfect game to throw a family member onto, because it's absolutely terrifying, and everybody watching the social screen as they get terrified is one of the best things. That's one of the best things about VR, is allowing new people to try it in an environment, say like a party or a family meetup. So I hope this one does come out. We'll just have to wait and see though. And the last game we're going to talk about here is Resident Evil 4, a game that I am actually a lot more excited for than I was a couple days ago. Because I started my Resident Evil 8 playthrough, I'm starting to really appreciate that game and everything that's gone into it, and apparently the Resi 4 remake is even better. So if it gets, you know, a VR port that's up to the standard of Resi 8, I'm going to be over the moon with that, because I've never experienced Resi 4 before. and I think this game's going to be absolutely incredible. Capcom have knocked out the park with all of their VR ports. In terms of visuals, in terms of gameplay, immersion, and incredible cutscenes as well, they really make you feel like you're in the game, which is essentially what we play VR for. And I know Resi 4 is one of the most hyped PSVR2 games of 2023, and yes, it is still slated for 2023, as far as we know. However, they could need more time to get it out there, but I do hope that it comes out in 2023, and I do have hope because Capcom are usually pretty good at scheduling their VR launches and their game launches, and they're quite a big company. They know what they're doing, they've done this before, and I'm hoping they're on schedule and ready for a 2023 release. Anyway, there we have it, everything that's going on with Bulletstorm VR at the moment, and also my opinions on a bunch of other VR ports that I'm very excited for, and if I think they're actually going to make it to their 2023 dates. Most of them I think yes, some of them I think no. If there are any other games you're looking forward to this year or next year, please do let me know in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video.